words mean to add? Katie. The sum of means to add. What else means to add? Chad? Increased by or to increase. Matthew? More than. Morgan? Added to. Plus. Right? Most basic word. We've been using that one for a long time. Plus. Okay. What about subtract? What words mean to subtract? Minus. That's our basic word. Morgan? Difference. We use the difference of. We're going to use that a lot today. Gracie? Less than. Decrease by. Yeah. Anything else? There's a T. Technically, it's two words. Take away. Anything else? Think of it. What about multiplication? Product. Morgan? To multiply by. Of. Times. Right? And then with product, we use the product of. That one's going to be a big one today also. And last, division. Morgan? Quotient, the quotient of. Those words are going to be extra today. That's subtraction. Divided by. There's an O word to describe a fraction. Over. Anything else? I don't think so. That's it. We're going to use all those words, and then we just made our list of our equals to or equations, right? We're going to actually make equations today. So all we're going to do is practice. There's not a lot of notes to take. We're just going to do practice problems the whole time. So our section is 2.1 because we took a test yesterday on chapter 1 on Alex, right? So 2.1 is our section. Our title is Writing Equations. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to do these with you for a little while and we'll slowly just work our way through. Okay. Now, again, I told you the last time we did this in chapter 1 that you should write out the numbers when they are 10 or less, right? You should actually write the word out for that number when it's 10 or less. Anything more than that, you can actually write the number if it's a sentence. They write them sometimes and sometimes don't write them, so you just have to pay attention to it, okay? So I'm going to write down the sentence, and so are you, and then we're going to turn it into the equation. That's what we're going to do for the first big chunk of this, okay? First one says 7, and they wrote out the word, because it's a small number, times a number squared is 5 times the difference. I'm just writing big with spaces so you can see it. Of K and M. That's the end of that sentence. I'm going to do this with you. I left spaces so we can go through it and talk about what everything means. Okay, let's start off with the most basic thing. Wrote the word 7. Well, we know that's literally just the number 7, right? Okay, the word times. What operation means times? Multiplication, and we're going to put a little dot there, right? That means multiplication. A number. When we see this statement, a number, what do we do to represent a number? If they're saying a number, it means something we don't know. What do we represent something in algebra with something we don't know? A letter. Pick a letter. X. We like X, right? That's usually the thing we like. Squared. What does that mean? Exponent of 2. What's it going on top of? That X, because that's what Ethan picked. He picked X. They picked the word is next. What's the word is mean? Equals, right? We just made this list over here. Equals 5. Well, that's a number. I'm gonna write the number 5. Times, again, what operation is that? Multiplication, so I'm put a little dot, right? We don't use x's anymore because Ethan just told us we just use an x and that, so we can't use the x anymore. The difference of, this all means what operation? Matthew. It means subtraction. Also, this is where things get difficult. When you see the difference of, or the sum of, or the product of, a lot of the times we're going to use parentheses. That's the hard part. So we're using parentheses, and Matthew just said that's subtraction, so subtraction's in the middle. Then whatever comes after it is the thing we're subtracting. So what are the two things we're subtracting in that sentence? What's after that? K and M. Which one's going to go where, you think, in our parentheses? Yep, because it says K and M. You see how K comes first in my words? So K is going to come first, M is next. So now, since I wrote it in between all my lines, I'm going to write it fully. 7 dot and then x squared. Do I have to put the dot when I write it? Or can I write just 7x squared? Is that okay? That's a fine, right? 7x squared is fine. I don't have to put the dot. Then equal sign, 5 parentheses k minus m. Again, I do not need the dot for multiplication. You can put it, but since there's parentheses there, if we were to solve this, what operation does that mean when there are 5 outside parentheses? Distributing, right? And distributing does mean to multiply, but we're not doing that math. We're just writing stuff. So lucky for you, we're not doing any actual math today for the most part. Does that make sense? All the words we did. The hardest part is knowing when parentheses are and using the difference of, the sum of, the all that fun stuff. Okay? Okay. Number 2. Use up a lot of space on that one. Okay. Hopefully this one's a little easier. 15 times a number subtracted from 80 is 25. I always look for my equal sign in my operations. Try it out. See if you can write it down. This one is weird with the order because it says subtracted from something else. So your order may not be what the sentence says it is. Subtraction is weird. Try it out. Drink. I picked X again. You can pick whatever you want. Remember, the book always picks N because it says a number, so it picks N. You can pick any letter you want. So the big question is, are we going to write 15x minus 80 or 80 minus 15x? What do you think? As a group, what you thinking? What'd you write down, Josiah? Okay. Let's look at the sentence again. 15 times a number subtracted from 80. So it says, I took it from someone else. Right? That's like Chaz Waterball has got in his hand. If I just took it from him, he had to be there before I could take it from him. Yes? That means it should actually be 80 minus 15x equals 25. Because you're taking it from that number. Grace, did you get that right? Ethan, did you get that right? Anyone else get that right? There's a couple people not writing. Aaron, okay. So with subtraction, you have to pay it. Subtraction is the big one. You have to pay attention to what it's saying. A lot of the time, subtraction is the one where the order is wrong. That and then more than the order is wrong. Does that kind of make sense? Because we're taking it from something else. That's the hard part, English. It's a pain in the butt. Trust me, I know. Okay, let's try another, okay? Number 3. 2, remember we got to write that word out, plus the quotient of a number and 8. Ooh, I wrote the number 8 instead. Is the same as 16. With division, we always make fractions. We do not write the division sign. Just a little heads up. Try one thing at a time. First word, what am I going to write down? 2, the number 2. Toops, what does plus mean? Addition, so I'm going to put a plus sign. Right, addition sign. Why would we call it a plus sign? The quotient of. Morgan, what does the quotient of mean? To divide. And I just said when we divide, we're going to make a fraction. So plus some kind of fraction. Remember, the something of means everything. The thing that follows next is in that fraction. So the quotient of a number and 8. So what is going to be in my fraction, Chad? X and 8. What's going to be where? What do you think? X is going to be on top. Where's 8 going to be? On the bottom. Just like Ethan said earlier, left to right. This one, it's top to bottom, right? Okay. Is the same as. What does that mean, Joy? Is the same as. Equals. What am I going to write after that equal sign? 16. Ooh. Was not paying attention to see if it was falling asleep. Is this making more sense or getting a little easier as we do it? Because some of us still struggled a little bit on our test when we took it with some of these. We're just going to keep practicing over and over and over again. We ready to flip? Unless you're Hunter. Okay. Okay. New operation we haven't tried. Oh, yeah, we have tried this one. Okay. What number am I on? 4. Okay. Next thing. 27 times k, so now I'm giving you a variable, is h squared decreased by 9. 27 times k is h squared decreased by 9. Try that one. Anyone want to tell me their sentence? You can. 27k equals h squared minus 9. Did you get exactly what he got? Remember, when you read them to me, just try not to say what the thing says. So just say 27k, right? And then try to change it up. So what could we say instead of h squared? Because that was in the sentence. What's another thing instead of saying something is squared? To the second power, or to the power of 2. Those mean the same thing. Or if you weren't sure, you'd say h with an exponent of 2. Right? So try to say it a little different just so that it's helping me understand that you know what you're saying. Did we also get the same answer? Yes or no? Use your nodding abilities. Okay. One more, and then we're going to move on to a little bit of harder. 5. Use some parentheses again. How about the difference of a number and h is equal to the product of 15 and y cubed. The difference of a number and h is equal to the product of 15 and y cubed. This gives you a big hint. When there's more than one variable, you have to write all the variables at least but one. You can still, that's why they said a number once, and the other ones they had to give you the variables. If not, they can always just give you the variables. That's the way I like it. It makes it easier on you. Just say the variables they give you. Especially when we go the other way. There potentially could be parentheses in this. I hope you saw that. I would put it in there just to get used to it. If it gets overwhelming, find where the equal sign is and do like half of it. If you're confused by something, find the equal sign, do the other part. I know you are. I meant everybody else. But sometimes the parenthesis part's what confuses you. Oh, so you want to give me your answer? Try it out. It's okay to be wrong. It's a perfect part of life. Equals what? It says equals to the product of 15 and y cubed. That's what the sentence says. So how do we write that? The product of 15 and y cubed. What's product mean? Times. So we have 15 and y. How do I show that they are multiplying? I can put a dot next between them, can't I? Can I also just write them next to each other? Does that also mean multiplying with variables? Okay. Now that word cubed, what does that mean? Like to the second power, but it's not a 2, is it? What's cubed? Close. It's 3. So what has that 3 power? The 15, the y, or both of it, or what? Just the y. The only difference is we could have parentheses somewhere. Where could we put parentheses? Technically, Crystal? Huh? Yep, X, because it says the difference of, when we see the difference of or the sum of, we could put parentheses here. Now, in this case, does it change the problem if the parentheses are there or not? Because there's nothing multiplying by it and the front is there. So in this problem, technically Austin is still correct because we use the parentheses when there's something else going on outside of it. Was there anything going on outside of this on this side? No. So it doesn't actually matter. But if you put parentheses there, it would not count against you. I mean, I would not count. We would not count against you. So that or this. They're almost exactly the same thing. The only difference is those parentheses. You have a question? Technically, yes, this can also have parentheses because the product of. You can put parentheses around the of things. That is a good thing to practice. I'm sorry, I'm cold. I'm chilling you out back there. Did anyone put the parentheses on any of this? Okay. That's the hardest part, is knowing where the parentheses are. Because a lot of the times putting them there really makes a big difference, because usually there's something else going on outside of it. Okay? Now what we're going to try is I'm going to give you still sentences, but you're going to be translating formula sentences. So with formulas, things are a little more nitpicky. You can't just pick whatever variable you want. Also, they're extra wordy that you don't need. Okay, this first one says the area of a triangle. I lost it. Equals the product of 1/2, and they literally wrote the fraction 1/2, of the length of the base and the height. So we're going to do this one together. First part, the area of a triangle equals. So we know the word equals means an equal sign, yes? But now we have to understand what literally all of this means. We have to represent the area of a triangle with something. Think back to literally every year of math. When we talk about area of anything, how do we represent area? With what letter? The area of a triangle. Anyone know? Because I can find the area of a triangle, right? Or a square or any shape I want. Yes, that's possible. So area of any shape all uses the same letter. What do you think it is? If they're all finding area. A. And since it's area, like volume, it's a big topic, we always use a capital letter with area. Okay? So A equals, area of a triangle equals the product of, what operation are we going to be using? Multiplication. It says we're going to be multiplying these things, and we could use parentheses, yes? The product of 1/2 of the length. So what do you think we need? Do you think we need that 1/2? Yep, so let's write it down. 1/2 of the length of a base. So we're taking half of this. So we need to represent something with that. Length of a base, or length of the base. So the base is the thing we're taking the length of. What letter do you think we use to talk about the base? B. I say B. Lowercase b. And the height. What letter? H. They did not change at all our operations, so it's all multiplication. Could we put this on parentheses? Yes. Is it important? No. We do not need it. I don't know if I can erase that now. Nope. It's already dried. No. You don't participate. You don't get to do anything. Yeah, does that kind of make sense? So you have to think about it. When they talk about big things, volume, area, perimeter, they're always capital letters because they're talking about a measurement of something we don't know. Everything else is always a lowercase letter, okay? That was good. We're going to try another one. I'm going to switch boards because I ran out of room. Huh? Okay. This one is so many extra words you don't actually need. Okay? So wait until I'm done until you start guessing. This one. In a right triangle. Comma. the square of the measure of the hypotenuse, it's hypotenuse, and then they use the letter C, hypotenuse C. So they're telling you what letter to use. Is equal to the sum of the squares of the measures of the legs. They put a comma and they wrote A and B. Period. Done. It's a lot of words. We don't actually need all of them. So write it down and we'll talk through it. The funny thing is if you know the formulas, you don't even have to read the sentence. Do we have it written down? Everybody. What are you participating? Okay, so when something is this long, I always look for the equal sign, break up my information. Where is the information that's for my equal sign? What's the words? Right after C, it says is equal to, right? That's my equal sign. So we're going to look at the top first. We'll go from there. In a right triangle, not important, nothing there that we care about. Doesn't tell us anything. The square, okay, that's something math, of the measure of the hypotenuse C. It says the square of blah, 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 blah of C. So how do I take all of this and write it down? The square of this guy C. Yes, Peyton. C squared. Correct. Look at all those extra words just for C squared equals. So we didn't even need a right triangle other than if you knew the formula, you would know. Then it says is equal to. That's why we got our equal. So now we're on the other side of the equal sign. The sum of, what's that mean again? That tells us we're adding, and that also tells us what, potentially? When it says the sum of, the difference of, the product of, that potentially we might need some parentheses. So now let's see what it's adding. It says the sum of the squares. What do you think that means? The squares. The sum of, so we're adding the squares. What does that mean? Anybody have an idea? If you get it right, I'll give you a sticker. This is a good one. C is already squared. We're already talking about that. The sum of the squares. Peyton? Yeah, whatever's coming next, those things are going to be squared. That's what that means. So the sum of the squares, whatever's coming next, the sum part, those things will be squared. So of the measures, the sum of the measures of, and then it says A and B. So A and B are the things we're adding, and it said they're squared. So A is squared and B is squared. Oh, I put a B. And B is squared. So in this case, Ethan, do I need the parentheses? Is it necessary? You don't actually need them. Can I put them there? Sure. But do I actually need them because there's nothing outside of them? No. So either of these is correct. So that does mean squares of the measures. So either of those is correct. That one's hard because there's just so many words. Okay. Now we're going to switch gears and we're going to go the opposite way. I'm going to give you a regular equation and you're going to turn it into words, okay? We'll start easy and work it up to the fractions and the parentheses. Okay. Number 8. Just going to keep going with the numbers. This one says 6z subtraction sign a 15, an equal sign, and then 45. Remember, you have to write out your numbers that are less than 11. So 10 and less, 1 through 10. You have to write those out. Other ones, you can just write the number. Try to use any word you can. Remember that subtraction words are special. Did you go last period? Don't you have more of June? Oh yeah, you need that. I mean, unless you do you use your agenda? I mean, then technically you could use it. Josiah, would you like to share with the group your answer? Anyone else put the same generic answer? It's correct. Anyone change it up just a little bit? Gracie? Is 45. Okay. Anybody else? Ethan? Yep. He, instead of saying Z, he said a number. 6 times a number. That is also okay. Yeah, you can say that. I always say the variable just so I don't confuse myself. I think Miss Weave does too. But you can say 6 times a number if you would like, since it's in the variable. The only time you can't do that if there's more than one variable. Okay? But yeah, 6 times a number. What could we say instead of saying the word times? Because so far everybody said the word times. Makes me sad. 6 multiplied by z or multiplied by a number. Yep. Anything else? What else means times again? Product. Oh, the good word. Okay. We did use different forms of subtraction, though. That's good. All of us used is, though. Is 45, right? It's the shortest one. It's the equal one. Is equal to, or what's the other one? Matthew, did you use yours? Oh, man. He gave me the good one. Is equivalent to, right? Or is the same as. Okay. You ready for another one? That's pretty good. Pulling out here everywhere. Okay. Number 9. Lots of answers for these. So just because you didn't hear your answer, that's why I raise your hand and be like, read yours. It's okay to get something wrong. That's why I practice. Let's try this one. A 15, an equal sign, a 25, a U, a power of 2 on that U, an addition sign, and then a big 2. I'm trying not to say the words. It's hard. I told him it's his points, not mine. I'm not fighting with him. Ethan, I hope you don't get cold easily because I always have this window open. Okay. Because he's been participating this whole time. You've been putting your head down. You said, I'm going to go to sleep. So since I, from here, can just look like your head's down, I just put you down for sleeping. From here, it looks like you're sleeping. Huh? No. I can't hear your hand at all. No. Because it looks like you're sleeping from here. Keep your head up when you take notes, and yes. Like Chad does, yes. Like literally everybody else in this room. Yeah, well. I only go off what I see. I'm moving this way across the room. Joy. You say Z? Okay. I'm just making sure. To the power of 2 plus 2? To the power of 2? That's the first time I've heard that today. That is correct. Anyone else have a different answer? Matthew. Yes. Changing up our words. Jaden? Answer? The only thing you did wrong is you did not describe that the 25 and the U are multiplying. So you have to either just say times or multiplied by. Okay? A lot of operations going on. Anyone have anything crazy different? No? We're next question is going to have this line. I hope you're all ready. Okay. Changing up. Lots of variables in this one. A Y with a power with a 2. Addition sign, a 3x. An equal sign, a W. Remember, more than one variable. You have to be specific. You can't say a number all the time. I would just say what the variables are. Yes, ma'am. Currently I got someone out, so I'm gonna have to say no. But if she comes back, maybe, you know. Well, Aaron, you got some kind of answer? Did you say multiply? Say that again. only thing wrong with that, only thing at all, and everyone's done it in every class. You cannot change the order of the equation. You cannot change equals W to be W equals. You cannot change that order. You have to say it, because if someone were to hear that, they would write Y equals. And I know that when you solve something, technically, the order doesn't matter when you solve an equation, but with sentences, the order does matter. So the only thing wrong with his, and some of you might have done it also, is you should describe the left side, then say some form of equals, and then describe the right side. So you should not change the order of the two sides of the equal sign. That is the only thing wrong with that. He even used the sum of that time, and it was still correct. So if you said the sum of first and then is equal to and then W, you would be fine here. Let's try that one. Crystal, what you got for this one? Yep, is equivalent to W. Yep, that one's good. Awesome. Anything different? Not really. Yours close to Crystal's? Sometimes. Most basic way is the best way, right? Especially when there's a lot of stuff going on. Ethan, got anything different? Yep. You hear that out there? Okay. Katie, got a different answer? No? Did you get it right? Did anyone else change to W? I had like 6 people in the last class, and there was only like 8 people in the entire class. No? There's a lunch today? Okay. Gonna give you a new problem. This one's gonna have fraction in it. Throw you some fractions at you now. Okay. 3x on top, 2 on the bottom. Then a subtraction sign. Then a t with a 3 as a power equals 132. Remember, there's a few words that describe a fraction. I like to use the bigger one. Makes it easier, but it's up to you. I gotta do some parentheses next. Yeah, you're just complaining about how it's so close to lunch. You might as well just wait now. That's good for you. I'm glad. You lost your chance when you walked in and said, I'm going to sleep for today. Yep, try again tomorrow. Hopefully we're not. None of us are coming to school tomorrow, right? Hopefully I wake up, see that little message, and I just roll back over. See, here's the thing. When I got here, no snow whatsoever. I got out of my car, and I was like, is that a snowflake? 20 minutes later, Miss Manuel came to work, came upstairs to visit me, and she's like, it's snowing out there. And I was like, nuh-uh, you're lying to me. Turns out it was covered. 20 minutes. Just letting you know. Okay, I'm in my last row. Morgan, you want to try? Might as well try. Yeah, 3 times the product of a number over 2 minus t cubed is equal to 132. That's fine. She even made it more difficult, but that's fine. Peyton. Yep. Answer. Yep. Also good because 3 and x are multiplied, so this is still pretty easy. Does anyone have anything different? Does anyone use the Q word for division? How do you have to use that one? Anyone know? There's no other Q word, Joy. I don't know what other Q words you would use. You could say the quotient of 3x and 2, and then minus t to the third power is equal to 132. You will have to use the quotient of when there are more operations than just multiplication in a fraction, which is what I'm going to show you very soon. Like this guy. So if I have a fraction, on top of the fraction, I have x plus 4. Bottom, I put a 6 there just because. And then equals to, I don't know, 52. This one, there's only one correct way to say division because there's more than one thing in a part of the fraction. So you have to say the quotient of, describe the top, use the word and, describe the bottom, then say the rest of it. So write it out. And we're going to do some parentheses. Should I give you a hint? I'm going to ask you, just letting you know. Starts with a Q. It's a division word. Huh? Oops. Throwing stuff back here. You got it? No? Okay, you want to help them out? You're next to my list. You're back at the beginning. You want to try it? It's okay to be wrong, right? That's the best part about math. We make mistakes, we fix them. That is 100% correct, sweetie. The quotient of x plus 4 and the and shows where the division is, 6, is equal to or is equivalent to 52. That is correct. She said, is that what you had? Ah, yep. The and separates the two things. Remember, and says the two things that are doing whatever was before when you started. Technically, you could have said the quotient of x added to 4, right, if you wanted to be more fancy. But that's completely fine. That's a correct answer, ma'am. You did it just right. Anyone have anything different other than maybe using a different word for equals or add? No? That's the only way you can say these, okay? I ran out of room, so we're going to do another one. Now we're going to deal with parentheses, since we haven't practiced them, and some of us avoid them like the plague. Hey, Tubes, will you go grab one of those white paper towels up there? Apparently ran out and didn't even think about it before I started wiping. Yeah, because it's still wet. Thanks. Thanks, bud. Okay, let's deal with some parentheses. 14. Okay. A 5, parentheses, x plus 2, close your parentheses, this is the hard part, equals 3. Describing this is the hardest part. We have to use specific words. Remember, we talked about them. The something of, you have to use those words with this operation. So you describe the first number and what it's doing to that parentheses. Then you have to say the something of, depending on what's in the inside. Try it out. We will go over, I'll write it this time. Now I have a purple thumb. Fractions in parentheses are the hardest part. Feeling good? You feel good about this one, Katie? Okay, I'm gonna pick on Josiah. But I'll come to you for backup if I need it. Austin, how you feeling over here? You don't know? Think about it. 5. What word do we use to describe when they're next to each other? And then, what is this? It's addition, right? What's that fancy word we use for addition? Starts with an S. Yeah, so the sum of, and then you describe what's on the inside. Josiah. I am not going to fit that. Correct. 5 times the sum of x and 2, that's what's on the inside, is equal sign 3. Well, that's a 3. Raise your hand if you got that answer. Well, you said it to me, you turd. Huh? What do you mean? Read it to me. Oh, a number into, that's fine. A number into is fine. Anything else?